Suicides in the military outnumber the death toll of casualties at war. Many of those who commit suicide do so because they cannot adjust to civilian life between deployments. Nobody is telling these men that what they have been doing in other countries feels wrong, because in many cases it is wrong. I'm asking our men and women in uniform to take a pledge to only partake in military efforts for the defense of our country, and not to listen to rhetoric that says freedom isn't free or that we're fighting for democracy. We thank you for your blind trust in our country's leadership that led you to where you are, because we would not be the United States without you. We, the people, want to provide you with the leadership you can trust, who will send you in harm's way only if absolutely necessary. Candidates, what would you like to say to the psyches of our military men and women to give them a sense of hope and that help is on the way?
Well, I would endorse the pledge myself. I think it's a good idea. I think the same thing has been happening. Well, to get back a second, PTSD we talked about before. I think that's one of the reasons why a lot of the military are committing suicide. But I also notice, I'm not sure if you've seen the movie The Corporation. It was pretty good. It characterizes corporations as psychopaths, their behavior, according to the DSM-4 and probably 5 as well. So I think if you apply the same test to corporations, that if you applied it to our government, there are quite a few similarities. And I think this goes back to why a lot of our military personnel are committing suicide, and why some other people are committing suicide as well. I believe that our government's beginning to exhibit the signs of callous disregard for the feelings of others, incapacity to maintain enduring relationships, reckless disregard for the safety of others, deceitfulness, repeated lying and conniving others for profit, incapacity to experience guilt, failure to conform to social norms with respect to lawful behaviors. We touched on some of those things before. What some of the presidents have been doing, in my view, has been unlawful behavior with respect to war. And I think this is starting to show up because the military personnel who are put in harm's way for whatever reason, I think realize they're doing something that's motivated by financial profit for others, not a true sense of protecting our nation, as it were.
Right.
When the founding fathers signed off on the Constitution, they actually risked their lives. They risked their belongings. They didn't risk somebody else's life for belonging. They risked their lives and belongings,
Okay.
and well-being in families.
Well, we went over a little bit, so I'm going to give Don about 1:45 or 2 minutes. Okay. Go ahead, Don.
Yeah. In 1941, when we went to war, the whole nation went to war. Everybody was working in the manufacturing plants to build war material. The citizens of now are just so disconnected from what's really happening. The war is something that's happening over there. The problem is we have our servicemen coming back. They've served the tour of duty. They come back. There's a little stress in the family. They go out and try to find a job. There aren't any jobs. You know, the wife is upset financially. The kids are upset because dad's gone or mom's gone and can't find a job, so they re-up for another tour of duty, and they come back the next time, and well, the wife's broken up with them, and you know, they go back to their folks, and the folks, you know, they pat them on the back. It's just great, you know, what you've been doing for our nation, but you know, you have to get out there and get a job because we can't afford to feed you. You know, we've lost our job now, and the whole economy of the nation is down from a prolonged war. You have to go back and look at what we did on the East Coast and West Coast in World War II. We fought on two sides of the battle, and we all put our shoulders to the wheel to push this nation to win that war. And we're just going to, now it's just a play. We don't really go in, you know, what happened in Vietnam. they'd go in and they'd win an area, and then they'd back out, and the enemy'd come back and take it over, and then we'd go back, send more people back in again to retake it again, and and back and forth until it's no wonder our troops started smoking pot and being bombed out on alcohol as an escape. And we have the same thing with our servicemen now. Many of them over there are, if they haven't committed, if they're not thinking of suicide, they're so depressed that their heart isn't in it. And
right. Okay.
that's not what's going to work.
We should send all the people who want to make money and kill everybody with their weapons to one spot, and the rest of us who who would like to have a peaceful environment, we'll live here. Let them kill each other, right?
Well, in the ancient days, the king led the troops into battle. Now the king sits in the Congress and the Senate and, in the factory and in the boardroom, and they have no actual contact with what's going on out there.
Okay, let's get back to the program here.